confusing, slightly amusing, introducing me. How does the acquisition of skill affect performance? Students learn about stages of skill acquisition: cognitive, associative, autonomous. Students learn to examine the stages of skill acquisition by participating in the learning of a new skill, e.g. juggling or throwing with non-dominant arm. There are 3 stages of skill acquisition: cognitive, associative, autonomous. Cognitive stage is identified as the basic or understanding stage of skill learning. The associative stage is identified as the intermediate or practice stage of skill learning, and autonomous, which is the 3rd stage of skill acquisition, means being in complete control of actions so they become automatic, and it is identified as the advanced stage at which skills are performed automatically. The athlete will no longer need to think about executing the skill, it will just be automatic. For example, in a netball game, the problem is not how to make the pass, but who to and what pass to make, considering the position of the defence. At this stage, practice is still important, but mostly involves simulating the competition situation. Unless specifically practiced to improve technique, training sessions for an athlete should incorporate pressure drills. This helps the athlete adapt skills to real performance. For example, at soccer training, performing a one-on-one attack and defence drill, where the defence applies pressure to their attacker, trying to prevent them from scoring a goal. It also helps the athlete focus on other aspects of competition, for example, dribbling the ball in soccer, seeing a defender coming at them, and they then have to think about whether they should pass the ball or whether they should take it themselves, thinking about competition aspects rather than performance. The most important feature is being able to attend to other cues while giving little thought into how to perform the skill. An autonomous athlete also needs to understand the movement and what the movement feels like, which then makes it easier for them to provide self-feedback, and they also can detect and correct errors as they occur. An autonomous athlete has very few minor errors. For example, an elite rugby league player such as Jonathan Thurston kicking a conversion. Most of the time they are successful, and they are very rarely unsuccessful, or they very rarely miss.
Thurston at 74% this season. Jared Croker was successful from near the sideline. Can JT do the same? Curling it around, curling it through, off the up.
This also applies to a soccer game during a penalty shootout when it is the attacker against the goalie one-on-one. The performer will need to adapt their movement to a pressure situation. For example, a basketball player dribbling the ball when a defender is approaching them. They may need to switch the hands which they are dribbling the ball in, or change direction to try and get away from the defense. Now, demonstrations at this level are only essential to refine particular movements, and the movements need to be rehearsed under various conditions so the athlete is prepared for any situation. For example, various weather conditions such as humid, hot, cold, or wet. The performer's movement has to have characteristic fluency as the subroutine sequence, and blend in aesthetically pleasing movements referred to as temporal patterning. The movement looks good because it's efficient, with muscle groups working in order and producing only necessary movements at required times. Speed and efficiency that relate to the specific movement is also important during the autonomous stage. Improvement requires manipulation of the environment to ensure the skill is able to be reproduced under various conditions.